All right, hey everyone, welcome into another episode of the Spoiler Alert podcast, a movie podcast that's the best movie podcast around. There's none better. It's just a fact. Look it up.
Check it out, baby.
So this episode, it's going to be a quick episode. Very simple. Ty saw Fast X. I did not. I don't care to see it. So he's going to do a full review around it. I'll quiz him on it. Get some answers for any questions that you may have about Fast X before you go see it. But let's just jump right into it. So this weekend, I don't know, I guess we'll call it the big movie of the week, The Little Mermaid. It's not going to be good. I say all the things you want to say about it, but it's not going to be good for legitimate reasons, which is number one, it didn't need to be made. Disney is just pumping out live action films that no one cares about anymore. And none of them are doing well. You can blame it on whatever you want, but this movie is going to tank. You know it is. And honestly, it should. Keep Disney from making this live action shit. And honestly, I'm so worried about the live action Lilo and Stitch, one of my favorite movies that honestly we'll be talking about in this episode or the next when we get into our favorite animated movies. And I don't need a live action Lilo and Stitch movie. It was fantastic how it was. Leave me alone.
Hell yeah. I mean, I forgot all about that movie, actually.
It's so good. It's fantastic.
It's really good.
But Little Mermaid's coming out. That's probably going to end up being headlines throughout the weekend.
Yeah.
We don't need to get into that. Everyone at this point knows the story of The Little Mermaid. Ariel wants to bang a dude on land. She makes a deal. She makes a deal with the squid lady, and she gets legs and goes and bangs the dude. Which, Ty, do you listen to the Lore podcast? LORE?
No, I don't actually. I don't think I've ever heard of it.
So it's interesting. It's pretty good. So it's this guy. He tells like lore of like folktale stories, stuff like that. And there was one where he told the background for like a lot of famous fairy tale or folktale movies, you know, The Little Mermaid, Sleeping Beauty, etc. And how like their original versions are like super dark. Like the Sleeping Beauty one is like the prince was like gonna fucking rape her, essentially.
Jeez, yeah.
And but it goes around that. But it's The Little Mermaid itself is one of those stories that's like way older than you think it is. You know, we think Little Mermaid for the animated film it was when it came out for us. And, you know, the story was older than that. And then he goes and he's like, it's even older than you think. You know, this is hundreds of years old, which is pretty interesting. But that also brings up the point. You don't need to keep fucking making it.
Yeah. I feel like we've seen this so many times now.
And when has it worked?
Yeah. This one does have 70% critic approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, so it's fresh, and 93% audience approval. So people like it, at least. I just don't think it's for us, really.
Yeah, that's true. And we're not the demographic, right? It's going to be children. Yeah. If the children like it, good. It's their movie to grow up with. It should be. That's all well said.
Yeah. I wasn't even a very big like animated Little Mermaid guy. I mean, I think it hit. Yeah, I mean, we're dudes, you know, just dudes being dudes. We don't really care for Little Mermaid, but that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. If people like it, cool, good for you. Don't turn into some political bullshit. Just stop it. It's either a good movie or it isn't.
Yeah, it might be good, but at the same time, I don't really care for any of these live action Disney remakes. So
I'm not going to see it. So
exactly.
One that we will likely see at some point or another is Bert Kreischer's The Machine. Bert's drunken past catches up to him 20 years down the road when he and his father are kidnapped by those Bert wronged 20 years ago while drunk on a college semester abroad in Russia. So this sounds like such a ridiculous film. I hope it's good, but I'm keeping my expectations low. Mm-hmm. I just need a good laugh. That's really all I need out of it.
Yeah, and for some reason, it's still not on Rotten Tomatoes yet, even though it came out today. It sounds funny enough, though. I mean, I've heard this story. I've heard Bert tell this story so many times in his
Yeah.
stand-up now. And even though I used to be a big Burkhardt fan, I think his stand-up's kind of lost touch a little bit with me. So I think he's just gotten too big for his own good, and it's like he's like kind of lost touch with his fans a little bit. But this movie should be fun. I like Jimmy Tatro and Mark Hamill, and they're gonna tell his story, and yeah, it'll be wacky.
I've been pounding Brosa's Simi Valley.
Yes,
Like,
dude.
it's fucking so funny.
Jimmy Tatro was just on Pardon My Take, and he was talking about how they're in talks to do like another season of it. So
Hell yeah,
and like wrap it all up.
That makes me happy because I'm about to be caught up in about 2 episodes.
Yeah, they're nice and short too.
Yeah,
Silly as fuck. Where do you even watch it now? It used to be on Facebook.
Facebook.
All place. Okay, I was gonna say, nice.
Facebook Watch is where you watch it. It's free. You can just go on Facebook Watch or whatever the fuck it's called and stream it.
Hell yeah. I think I watched it all.
Yeah, 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And the first season's on YouTube.
They were saying that if they do get the new season, that Hawk, his son would be like older than them all.
Well, that was the whole gimmick, right? He was just aging insanely quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit's funny. Stupid as fuck.
It's so damn funny.
But like you said, his dad Mark Hamill in it. That's just the most random casting I've ever heard of.
I know.
Like Mark Hamill,
I can't believe they were able to snag Mark Hamill to be a comedian's dad.
Bring in Luke Skywalker. It's cool.
Crazy.
Well, that's another one of those films, it's flip a coin. It's either going to be hilarious and great or absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
There's no middle.
And I think that might be the case for the other movie starring a comedian this weekend about my father. I'm glad I didn't go rush and see that today because it's at about like 28% of critic approval. Probably sucks. It's got about 83 audience score though, so maybe it's not that bad. But
dude, I'm just so out on about everything De Niro. So I guess I should just say about my father, the other movie that's coming out here. When Sebastian tells his old school Italian immigrant father Salvo that he is going to propose to his all-American girlfriend, Salvo insists on crashing a weekend with her Tony parents. That's something. I don't know why Tony is in there. I think I got a typo in there with her parents. But yeah,
Tony
De Niro is just straight up making all the movies he can because I heard his wife spent all his money.
Oh gosh,
that was like last year, maybe a few years ago, where that came out. So he's just really going into everything because he did that one movie with like Zac Efron, and I'm like, okay, Bad Grandpa, that's what it was. Yeah. And like, let's just cut it out at this point because it's like, okay, we need an old guy to be Italian. Let's bring in De Niro. And what's funny is a lot of like actual Italians and Italian actors don't like De Niro.
Really?
So oh Christ, why can't I think of his name? Sopranos, fat guy, marries Tony's sister. Bobby. The dude who played Bobby hates De Niro, hates him.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely despises him. Says like he's a fake Italian. He gives Italians a bad name. Shit like that. Yeah, they absolutely despise him.
Wow. If it's pretty bad whenever the Italians are turning on the Italians.
Yeah, having our own little internal conflicts here.
Jeez.
But yeah, De Niro's in it. Leslie Bibb honors home from Workaholics, which is kind of funny.
I love Durs. He was just on Pardon My Take too, talking about this movie.
It's a hard on. Sebastian Maniscalco, he wrote. Is he directing as well? I know he's acting in it.
I don't think he directed it.
No, he's not directing. Laura Taruso is directing, and looking at her past, she's done nothing.
It's always weird how that works out, isn't it?
Yeah, and that seems to be such a problem. These folks, they get their first directing opportunity. Somehow they end up with some decent names in it, but there's very few directors that come in for their first time and do a good job.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what we'll get here. Maybe she grows into it, becomes much better, but this doesn't sound like one that is gonna knock it out of the park.
Yeah, and this is also, it seems just like a worse movie that De Niro is already in, Meet the Parents. It seems like a worse version of that.
Right. They're like, hey, I'm Italian. You're marrying my. Oh, well, I guess it's a son this time. So they flip the roles. But
Yeah,
yeah.
maybe they'll play volleyball in the pool and give somebody a bloody nose.
Yeah. Bring in Bradley Cooper, which I always forget he's in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's the other guy.
That's crazy.
Another film that probably doesn't need to be made because it's the same as every other generic action movie. Kandahar. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that horribly. But Ty, I think you talked about this maybe an episode or two ago. A CIA operative and his translator free from special forces in Afghanistan after exposing a covert mission. So this also sounds like The Covenant, but
Yeah.
probably way worse. But it's just Gerard Butler doing Gerard Butler things.
Yeah.
Rick Roman Waugh is directing. And what was funny was when I started looking up his filmography, almost all the films he's known for have Gerard Butler in it. So they're obviously pretty good friends. He was in he directed Greenland and Angel Has Fallen, both starring Gerard Butler. This is what you see is what you get. It's an action film. You know, maybe it's a fun watch, but overall that might be it.
It probably is better than Fast X, if I'm being honest. It looks solid. I like it. I'm a sucker for a solid Gerard Butler movie.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of those Angel Has Fallen, whatever the hell movies, but Greenland was sweet. I love a good like end of the world movie, and that one was cool. Did you see that one?
I have not, but I'm
I think
kind
it's
of
on HBO Max.
I'll have to give that one a go. I saw Christ, his latest one, the pilot, the aviator,
plane.
Okay, of course, it's just insanely simple of a name, and I can't remember it. But plane was good. Like, it doesn't have to be incredible writing. Just give me some good action, and I'll be pretty happy with it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what this one is looking like. Solid action. Like I said before, it'll be on TNT in like a year.
Yeah, exactly. Showing the reruns.
Yeah.
And then the final one here. Funny enough, I had this on my list. So a lot of the times, like every, maybe 2 months or so, I'll go on IMDb and I'll go to like the upcoming releases and I'll just scroll until the very end. And anything that sounds somewhat interesting to me, I'll put it on my watch list. So this movie, by invitation only, made it on my watch list. I'm like, oh, okay. Why did I add this? And I read the synopsis, and it goes, a group comes to a mysterious party and is given the option to participate in games in order to win a reward. Each character has his or her own motivation for being in attendance. Not one of them knows exactly what connects them all. And I'm like, okay, that sounds a little bit like Saw and a little bit like
Glass Onion, Knives Out.
Glass Onion. There's one more I'm thinking of with Ricky from Trailer Park Boys, which was really weird to see him in that. With also, what the hell was her name? I think it was it Brittany Murphy? No, that can't be right because she's dead, I think.
Is it the one? I know which one you're talking about. Was it called like
it was on Netflix.
Yeah, it's called like something about Dare or something like that. A Dare You or
something like that. Let me pull up what's
Simon
his name? Rob Wells.
Oh, I know exactly what it is too.
Oh, come on. What is it? It is Would You Rather.
Would You Rather, that was it.
It's the name of one of those
games.
So it's one of those. I'm like, those are my types of films. Like, I love the fucked up, like, we're here not really because I want to, but because I have to be. I need to win money. I need to save my family, whatever. And so that sound really what I wanted it to be. But then the trailer came out. Not great. It looks like a high school film class.
It does. I'm looking at this right now.
It's bad.
The poster looks like the one I made of us on Fast X.
Yeah.
It's like some pro whatever X like title screens in between each take. It's just like, this looks like crazy. And I'm looking on IMDb right now. The budget is estimated at $5,000.
There you go.
There it is.
It's not going to be like a Paranormal Activity where it makes a lot of money.
No, because it just looks like shit.
It looks terrible.
At least Paranormal Activity looked believable. This looks like shit.
So the thing with the Paranormal Activity, it was supposed to look like shit. It was supposed to be a home movie. This is not.
This is supposed to be an actual movie, and it looks like we filmed it in our backyard.
Yeah, so I took that immediately off my watch list, which is a shame because the premise, I love it. I think that sounds so interesting, but it just looks poorly executed.
This looks like they're gonna release it on their fucking Twitter feed or something. I don't even know where they could release a movie to. I guess
just
YouTube.
Part by part.
I guess YouTube they could put it on, but jeez.
Well, that was the thing.
Poster is terrible.
Elon does now allow 2-hour-long videos on Twitter.
That's true. Yeah, long stream fucking content.
Everyone's putting up Shrek 2, which is hilarious.
That is so funny.
But that's probably the right place for it because otherwise no one's going to see it.
Yeah. By invitation only, keep your fucking invitation.
Yeah, I said my regrets. I'm not coming. But yeah, it looks like shit. It's such a shame though because someone else take up that and make it a couple $1 million budget. Make it good.
Yeah.
Ty hit me with some news. We'll just move quickly because this will be a shorter one. But yeah, a few things in the news. It looks like. What is going on?
So apparently the new Indiana Jones movie is just bad. The early reviews were bad. It played at Cannes, whatever that film festival was in France we talked about. Yeah, so it was at 33% average rating with a 5.3 critic approval, but it has since came up to 50%, which is still not great. Okay. The consensus is that even though it's nostalgic seeing Harrison Ford back as Indiana Jones, it's completely unnecessary. And it's just like, I've never been a big Indiana Jones guy to begin with. I think they hit just before like our time. So like I know they're classics, but even the last one from 2008 wasn't necessary. And now bad. This seems like, it's like this just seems more and more like a cash grab. Like we can't keep saying that enough lately, but nobody wants to see an 80-year-old in an action movie reliving the glory days. Like I'm sure it ends with him handing off the reins to someone or ambiguously to try to return back to the franchise another time. But yeah, not great for the new Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah, when the Crystal Skull came out, that was the first Indiana Jones the first Indiana Jones in total that I've seen, not just in theaters. I never grew up with them. I was more Star Wars, which you would think, those shouldn't compare, but they do. They're older movies that your parents show you. Mm-hmm. And it was more Star Wars for me. Never saw Indiana Jones until the Crystal Skull. I remember watching it in theaters. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? They bring in aliens, they bring in Shia LaBeouf, and I'm like, I don't have a clue what's going on. And then maybe 3-4 years ago, I finally watched the original, and I don't know, I just didn't care. It didn't click with me. But
it's like dated now.
Yeah,
there's better action adventures than that now.
For sure. Like, this is going to piss people off, but the newer Jumanjis are better. Like, we need to find this item and get it somewhere else because those are better films.
In my opinion, too. Yeah, honestly. The first Jumanji was not bad at all. I haven't seen the second one. Third one?
Yeah, it was okay. Yeah. I didn't care. It was fun enough. Give me some random ass Danny DeVito and I'm happy.
Yeah. So a couple other things here. We get a Nicolas Cage psychological thriller called The Surfer. So this is going to see Nick Cage play a man who returns to his hometown in Australia and takes on a local gang of surfers. So surfers don't always typically seem very tough. They seem kind of like stoners and out there. But when a man returns to his beachside hometown in Australia, many years since building a life for himself in the U.S., he's humiliated in front of his teenage son by a local gang of surfers who claim strict ownership over the secluded beach of his childhood. Wounded, the surfer decides to remain at the beach, declaring war against those in control of the bay. But as the conflict escalates, the stakes spin wildly out of control, taking the surfer to the edge of his sanity. I just said the whole fucking movie. That's crazy. That's all listed on that article that I read about this movie already. That is crazy. That's the whole movie.
It sounds so bad too.
It's so
hey bro, ridiculous. This is our beach. You get the fuck out of here.
There's no chance I'm not gonna watch this though. That sounds so fucking absurd.
How's it just a psychological thriller?
I have no idea. I wonder if it's going to be one of those ones where he just doesn't even speak at all, or if he's just going to have some ridiculous Australian Nick Cage accent.
Probably,
Either way,
yeah.
though.
He's gonna come in and just be like, I can't even do his voice right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can't do a Nick Cage Australian accent. I can't.
I gotta steal the Declaration of Independence. Yeah, some shit like that. I don't know. That's pretty bad. That's very bad, actually. But yeah,
it sounds like they just beat the shit out of him, leave it on the beach. He's like, "I'm staying," and then just like just goes
staying.
and like, "I'm staying here," and then just like
This
I don't know,
beach.
beats them all up, takes the beach back, and then goes and rides a wave. That's the movie. That's gonna be it right there. He's gonna end up taking the beach back and riding a wave at the end.
I do respect that he's willing to just make bullshit movies because it's a different situation, right? It's not like De Niro that we just talked about where he's taking bullshit movies because he needs the money. Cage is doing bullshit movies because he thinks it's funny.
Yeah, especially after the meta ass unbearable weight of massive talent. He knows. He knows.
Yeah, and that was great, by the way. You still need to see that.
And he can still act like even Pig, which came out a year or two ago, he can still act his ass off. So he's just doing whatever the fuck he wants now. Good for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Cage dog. I'm gonna steal some of the news from the next episode that we are going to do. Never mind, we're gonna have to cut that so nobody knows we're doing two in one night. Never mind. But one last thing here, because it sounds interesting as hell. Where the hell did it go? What the fuck?
It's gone.
Oh, wait, here we go. We got some news on Tarantino's last film here. So he told Deadline that his new film is going to be about a movie critic from the 1970s that wrote for a porno magazine, and it takes place in California. So he's going to be using a new leading man for this movie too, because he's looking for an actor that falls in the 35 years old age range. Okay. So I looked up a few actors that are 35 for the hell of it, because Brad Pitt and like Leo are too old for the part, so he's got to switch it up. Looked up a couple 35-year-olds. Zac Efron's one of them. The other one that stuck out was none other than the fucking Plem dog, dude, Jesse Plemons.
Please don't.
It could happen. He very much looks like a guy that could write for a porno magazine.
Yeah, he does. You know what? Okay, I might be okay with it because he probably dies in the end.
If I will this, he does actually, because he said it's about a guy that he was 35, but he sounded 55, and he died of alcoholism in his late 30s. So it's going to be a wild movie. But if I just willed the Plem dog into starring in it, then I think I need
blame
some
you. I'm going
to blame you. He's going to come on
you.
the podcast. But I think I don't know, man. It could happen. So, that's all I'm saying.
You talked about that Love and Death show, and we started watching it. We're caught up. The last episode aired today, I believe.
Oh yeah, I didn't watch today's episode.
Today is Thursday. It is the last episode, so we're caught up. And
is it the last one?
It is the last one.
Oh no shit.
And so, for me, the most unbelievable shit about this movie is that two people wanted to have sex with the Plem dog.
Elizabeth Olsen, who is a noted hot woman.
Yeah, the fuck. She
was like, "I will throw my marriage away, Plem dog. Let's have an affair.
Let's do it." And so, what I usually at the end of these real story films, shows, whatever, they show pictures of the real people. I gotta see how close they look, because if he's as ugly as he is and she's as attractive as she is, things are weird in the world.
It was a different time. It was like, what, the 70s or 80s?
70s, yeah.
Like back in the day, like you could just have like a new set of sunglasses on or something. The girl would be like, "Hey, why don't you take me around the block, buddy?
I'm a middle manager accountant. Come, let's go.
How about you go and teach me a lesson, pal?"
Happened just a few hours from where I am.
Oh, that's pretty fucking wild too.
Yeah, I'm gonna go there and burn down that town.
I keep forgetting it's a real story.
Fucking wild.
That's the end for news, though. Not too much. Nothing crazy.
Sure thing. Yeah, Ty, meat of the episode. You're gonna tell me about your experience with Fast X. We talked about it a little bit last episode, how it's a franchise that should stop.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're about to say the same thing here. So let's just jump right into it, spoilers and all. So if you don't want spoilers for Fast X, which feels like a weird thing to not, I don't know. What's a spoiler for Fast X?
You
Yeah,
should
they
know
dress.
you should know what's going to happen in Fast X.
So if you are really that worried about it, just I don't know, get out of here. Otherwise, Ty, let me hear it. Give me your review.
All right, buckle up, grab a Corona, because I'm about to deep dive into this movie for family. So, like I've said before on the podcast, I do have a soft spot for these movies, and as long as I'm entertained, I'm going to enjoy it. But this one, compared to the other fucking nine of them, does not do it for me at all. In my opinion, this is the worst one in the entire franchise, not including Tokyo Drift because I refuse to watch it, and Hobbs and Shaw because I haven't seen it. But let's just compare to how it stacks up to the others. So the highest rated is obviously Furious 7, which is only 81% certified fresh, which is not that even high, but it is for sure the best one, and it's where the franchise should have ended after Paul Walker's real life death. That was his final role as Brian O'Connor. They had the incredibly emotional ending with him and Vin Diesel driving off into the sunset and Brian retiring and all that shit. They could have never made another movie after that, and it would have been great. But they're addicted to that money, and they had to keep going. So, the lowest rated is 2009's Fast and Furious. It was the fourth one, and it came in at a whopping 29% critic approval. So, side note, they really just need to pick like an F word and stick to it. Bouncing around between Fast and Furious is going to make me have a stroke. Because I've typed Furious and Fast and Furious so many times right now that it is mind boggling. Just pick one. Fast and Furious 6, Fast and Furious 7. They've done Fast 5, Fast 6, Fast Furious 7. It's insane. So, Fast 5 and Furious 6 and Furious 7, geez, are where they really did find their stride, though. They were each solid action movies and pretty much what we came to know and expect from the franchise. 5 is where The Rock joined for the first time. So F8, Fate of the Furious, which I do got to hand him that one. That's good for you. And F9, The Fast Saga. I don't know why they tacked on the saga there to that one. I like those ones a good bit, even though that's where like the suspension of disbelief really starts to come into play. They go to fucking space. They've come a long way from stealing DVD players off tractor trailers and drag races for pink slips. But for the most part, I'd throw any of those on sometime and just watch it. Or if I caught it on cable at a hotel, I'd watch that goddamn thing start to back.
Yeah.
But Fast X just loses any momentum the franchise had going for it. And I think people are finally running out of shits to give about these movies going forward. So here we go. Currently, it sits at a 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb and a 55 Rotten Critic rating, but an 85% audience approval rating, which is actually the second highest audience rating somehow behind Hobbs and Shaw. It's better than 5 and 7, apparently, in the audience's mind, which is nuts to me. I think people must have had too many Coronas at the barbecue before watching this one. So the marketing for this movie has been saying the end of the road begins, but this movie follows Dom Toretto and his family as they are targeted by the vengeful son, drug kingpin Hernan Reyes. Son of Hernan Reyes. That is hard to say. If that name doesn't sound familiar, don't worry. The movie does do a good job of reminding you who that is for the first 5 to 10 minutes of this movie, which I was happy about because I completely forgot who the hell that was. So, for the 10th film in this franchise, it needs to just be all about action and racing and family. But I think we were expecting that to be dialed up to 100 for this one, but it just wasn't. This is like the first Fast and Furious movie I can remember in a long time where I was just like, can we get some more action? Is something going to happen here? There was too many breaks and bullshit in between the action sequences that there were. Everyone knows these movies are famous for their like corny and lame dialogue and jokes, but this one has some of the worst in the franchise and some of the worst like stupid hacker cliche bullshit that we're both tired of. And then the news came out that this would not only be a sequel, but it might now be a trilogy. So Fast Triple X, like, is that that's what the third one's going to have to be called? So going into this, it's going to be setting up the next movie, whatever the fuck they're going to call it, FX2, FXII. Who knows what they're going to call the next one? Genuinely, I have no idea. But so it just felt like there was zero finality in anything that took place in this movie. And just this was like the last bit that I didn't have with spoilers. I landed at a 4.5, which is one of the lowest ratings of the year and a pretty big bummer. Oof. So now here we go. I'm going to kick off with all the spoilers, baby. Fucking movie starts off. It's just Fast Five. It's literally just the scene from Fast Five on the bridge whenever they're riding away, stealing a safe and driving it attached to their cars on a bridge. That is where the name Hernan Reyes comes into play because he's the villain in that movie and they squish him with the fucking safe. The safe somehow flips over their cars, lands on him, squishes him, and kills him. So I'm glad they reminded us who that was because I had no idea. I didn't remember. That came out fucking 10 years ago. Anyways, he's dead, but turns out Jason Momoa is his son, and he vows revenge. And then, boom, here we are, Fast X. So, Momoa is one of my big gripes with this movie. He's not terrible, but he's doing some kind of, like, just wacky, flamboyant Joker, and it comes across as, like, weird and fake. It's just like, if he was just, like, a badass Jason Momoa guy, I think it would have been better. But he's just got so many corny lines and shit, and he's just like, I don't know if he's like gay or if he's just like flamboyant and like weird or what, but it's just like, it seems like he's trying to be like jokery and bizarre. And it's just like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So, and we did mention that, like, about how people were saying he's doing like a Joker, and it turns out it just like wasn't a good Joker. It's just weird.
So it was Jared Leto.
Pretty much, yeah. He's just missing the face tattoos, but he did have like painted nails and shit like that, and wore, I don't know. So we did get a cool, badass John Cena fight sequence. It takes place whenever Jason Momoa's Dante sends a team to go and kidnap Dom Toretto's son, Little Brian, or Little B, they call him, because of course that's what his name is. So Cena shows up to save everybody, kicks everybody's ass, and even hits his old WWE signature finishing move on a guy and puts him through a fucking floor of the second story floor of a house. That's cool. That's badass. That's probably one of the best parts in the movie. So I think the big problem with this movie is that it's falling around too many storylines all at once. So we have Dom, we have Dante, we have Cena and his little nephew, Little B. We have Letty and Cypher because Letty's back and Cypher's back. Fucking can't even remember her name in real life right now. Cypher. And then we have Luda, whose name is Tej, and the rest of the gang, Roman, Ramsey, and Han, as well as the new director of the CIA or whatever the hell their organization's called. His name's Ames. And then we have Brie Larson's new character, who's also in that organization. And then we get a new character named Isabel, who's a Brazilian streetcar racer, who's the sister of Dom Toretto's baby's fucking mama. We keeping track now? How many fucking storylines are falling around now?
No.
Exactly. So then eventually, here we go. I'm gonna have to pause because here we go. This is the entire third act of the movie, baby. Buckle up. All right. So eventually we get Jacob, who is John Cena, driving Little B, Little Brian, in a Mustang strapped with bombs to it. To blow up other cars and shit. He's driving away from Jason Momoa, who's Dante, with Dom Toretto trailing him, trying to like get away from whatever. Dante's chasing him to try to come snatch up Little Brian. So one of the bombs gets stuck so that he can't shoot it out of his car anymore. So Little B, being Dom Toretto's son, the little badass that he is, decides to get out onto the back of the car and try to dislodge the bombs, which it just gives Dante all the time in the world he needs to come up and kidnap him off the car.
I gotta stop you just because, like, I don't know how old Little B is.
I think he's 10.
What? 10?
I think he's 10. I don't know.
Fuck
Maybe
me.
even less than that. Maybe less than that.
I was saying, I was in my mind, I was thinking of someone that young, but I didn't think that's actually how it was. Okay,
yeah, he's like 10 or less. He's going to be like 10 or less. older than 5, but no older than 10. So somewhere in there.
Fantastic. I gotta look up the actor now. I gotta know.
So fucking Jason Momoa comes up and kidnaps him right off the car.
Awesome.
Just snatches him. So he's now in Dante's car, which causes John Cena. Okay, I forgot to mention that Dante's rolling with a bunch of goons in other cars to help him. So this gives Cena the idea to go and sacrifice himself in the car strapped with bombs to blow up all the henchmen so that Dom can catch up to Dante and save his son. And he does. He blows himself up. Yeah, John Cena sacrificed himself for pretty much no reason. I mean, it's just like 5 other cars that they could have definitely just like drove around or done Fast and Furious things to avoid. But he was like, no, fuck it. He's like, go ahead, Dom. You got this. And just like flips the car full of bombs onto like 6 other cars. And you just completely see him get incinerated. But I'm willing to bet he's not actually dead. So now we get just Dom on the top of a dam on a bridge. Dante had to back off. He has 2 dronely remote-controlled tractor trailers set up on each side of the bridge, ready to squish Dom and Little B and kill him. So Dom gives the quote of the movie here, and he's like, "You might have stole my son, but I still have my car," or something like that. And he just drives down a fucking dam. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. And then the movie ends here with the CIA guy, the new CIA guy, double-crossing Dom and the family. He's been working with Dante the whole time. He shoots down a plane out of the sky that had Ludacris, Tej, whoever the hell. They were coming to rescue Dom and his son in a plane. He shoots it down with a rocket missile. So they're plane wrecks. So everybody's like, holy shit, are they dead too? And then so Dom and his son are standing at the bottom of the dam. Okay. And Jason Momoa blows it up. Entire goddamn thing is blown up. The movie ends literally on that. The movie ends on the dam blowing up, about to squish and kill Dom Toretto and Little B.
Really?
Yeah. Ends on such a massive cliffhanger. And then I forgot to mention this. So Letty and Cypher have been in a fucking prison in Antarctica the whole time.
Sure.
Because of what happens in the beginning of the movie. They're chasing around a bomb. Letty gets captured, whatever. But then Gal Gadot's character shows up in a nuclear submarine to rescue them. Gal Gadot's character has been dead since Fast and Furious fucking 6 or whatever.
Oh my god.
That's the entire third act of the movie summed up. It ends on just, like I said, a ridiculous comeback and then a ridiculous cliffhanger. But don't worry, there's a post-credit scene.
Oh,
we get a masked man showing up to an abandoned warehouse, kind of Saw-like. And we get videos of Dante and a phone ringing, and he answers, and Dante tells him, he's next. You're on his list. He's coming for you. The guy takes off the mask, and it's none other than Dwayne The Rock motherfucking Johnson Hobbs. He's back. He's back in the series, even though him and Vin Diesel hate each other. He says, I quote, he's like, "Good luck, you some bitch," or something like that, and then that's how it all ends.
Fantastic.
Good luck, you some bitch. That's the end. That's the last line of the movie. So absolutely just ridiculous. I did kind of ham it up a little bit there,
sure.
But some of the action was okay, but there wasn't a ton for what you would want out of the Fast X, really. We did get the useless John Cena sacrifice, which there's no chance he's dead, even though he blew up in a car strapped to the helm with bombs. We got a return of another dead character, Gal Gadot, even though they've already done that with Han before.
Mm-hmm.
Now we got The Rock and Vin Diesel back, ending their feud. The next one's just going to be all about The Rock, I'm sure. It was just too much for me to give it a higher rating than like a 4.5.
Christ.
For the start of this trilogy to go this badly, I'm not looking forward to the next ones at all.
Why is Brie Larson in it? Who the hell is she?
So if you remember, I don't know if you've seen the last couple, but
I have not.
Her dad is the leader of the CIA guy, and he's been missing or whatever. So she steps in to take his place, and she's really not even there for that long. She's in the movie for like maybe 10 minutes.
Cool.
And then yeah, she's part of the CIA, and then there's the other guy that's like the new leader, who's actually just Thad Castle from Blue Mountain State.
Yeah, Alan Richardson.
Yeah. According to IMDb, the word family is said 56 times in the movie. Paul Walker's daughter plays the flight attendant in the movie, and Justin Lin was replaced as the director after conflicts with Vin Diesel. Might have been a better movie if he stayed on, but and apparently this movie had a $340 million budget, which is absolutely fucking insane.
That's wild. Yeah, okay, so Justin Lin's still a producer. Louis Leterrier, he directed The Incredible Hulk, the one before Mark Ruffalo.
Jeez.
And The Transporter with Jason Statham.
Okay.
Now You See Me, that magician movie, and then Clash of the Titans, which was not good.
Right, I remember seeing that in the theater.
Oh, he directed both the Transporter movies.
Well, hopefully everybody stayed on to listen, because now you don't have to go pay money to see Fast X, because I just summed up the entire goddamn thing.
Please don't. Yeah. Go play the Fast and the Furious racing game at Dave and Buster's and get your fix.
I'm a Vin Diesel guy, but this movie just wasn't it.
Man. And like, I don't know. Like I said, I haven't seen one since I probably saw what? I guess it was 4 or whatever the one was after Tokyo Drift, and then I'm like, dude, I just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
But I'm with you where like it doesn't need to try to be anything fancy. Give me some good action and I'll be happy.
Yeah. That's what you would think. This one was just so dumb.
It sounds like one, like you said, has too many storylines and they don't know how to handle it.
Yeah, it was just too much. Especially if it's now going to be a trilogy, the end of the road trilogy, whatever the hell. It should have started off better than this. You can't end the first movie of a trilogy on such a cliffhanger like this.
Yeah. God damn.
It's just dumb.
So
Dam's going to blow up on them. I'm
going to assume you're telling people, hey, don't go see this. This isn't worth it.
Save your money. Yeah, like I said, one of the worst movies I've reviewed over this year so far.
Yeah.
It's like a 4 out of 10.
I'm likely never seeing it. I'm just so over it for the most part. So I don't even know what questions to ask at this point. You did a really good job describing what went on and everything. It's like the questions I would have are like, okay, is there going to be another one? You said there was going to be because it left on a cliffhanger. Does anything impactful happen? Well, John Cena's character is supposedly dead. The Rock comes back out of nowhere. What happened? What about Momoa's character? Is he going to be next? He's coming back, right?
Oh yeah, he'll for sure. He's like alive and well, and he's like trying to kill everybody at the end.
Did anything happen like with him at all?
He got into like a little bit of a fight. Like they kind of kicked his ass like once or twice, but I mean, he kind of just fucked him up the whole movie. This was like he was Thanos in Infinity War in this one.
Okay.
So the next one's going to be them all coming back together to kick his ass.
And you said it's going to be a trilogy?
Vin Diesel made comments where he was saying that it could potentially be a trilogy. So I don't know. I don't think they should. I just don't know how they're going to keep it going.
Yeah.
I mean, this one's going to surely be about like everybody coming back and then beating his ass and then ending how they usually end.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know.
Tagline.
And apparently there's going to be spin-offs too coming.
They had the Tokyo Drift spin-off. They had Hobbs or whatever the fuck it was.
Exactly. There's going to be more of them. So this is not the end of the franchise like they keep saying it is. It's not. It's just not.
It's not a strong fucking franchise where you can do shit like that. It's not Marvel. It's not Star Wars. It's not DC. It's not a franchise where people give a shit enough where you can have like 3 spinoffs.
Yeah, they're not coming up with good enough premises to warrant keeping making these movies. And like you just said, nobody wants to see a fucking ludicrous spinoff.
Yeah. Funny enough, this tagline, and I'm pretty sure multiple of these movies have had this tagline by now. The Last Ride. That's their tagline for this movie.
Yeah.
Bullshit. You've said
they're
it like
saying
8
like
times.
the end of the road begins. It's like bullshit. There's 3 of them. This is like, how's this the beginning of the end? It's gonna be 3 more.
It's already profited.
Yeah, it's been just absolutely killing it, especially overseas.
$340 million budget. It has already made 352.
There you go. It's already made its money back.
So there you go. And that's all they need. They're like, oh, okay, we'll do it again. Dude,
they're gonna keep making
all
them.
That.
Yeah.
Anything else you gotta say about the movie, Ty? Did little Brian make it? Is he alive? Is he safe?
At the moment, he's alive, but a dam is collapsing onto his head. He almost got squished. He got kidnapped.
Why? Okay, first question. Well, not the first question, but why was he there anyways?
Exactly. Who gives a shit about Little B? Nobody.
Well, why would Dom, Mr. Vin Diesel, Mr. Horrible Father, take him along for this shit? Or is he like, I gotta protect him. He's safer with me?
So that's actually what happens. So Dante, Jason Momoa, kidnaps him because he doesn't just want to kill Dom Toretto. He wants to fucking make him suffer. So he's gonna try to kill Little B or whatever. Dom steals him back, and that's why they're reunited here.
Fantastic.
Yeah, very weird. And it's like he's like the son of the lady that he fell in love with and banged for a couple years while Letty was dead and missing, and then Letty came back, and then that lady's like, "Oh, it's okay, you still love her, even though we have a kid." And then that lady gets fucking killed. Just so convoluted.
Oh, perfect. What a lucky moment for Vin Diesel. So,
Little Brian, dude. Little Brian.
making his face now. Dude, just call him Brian. Stop. Like, you can't have both Little Nobody and Little Brian.
Every time they keep calling, it's like they keep calling him B, Little B, come here, B. It's just like, I don't give a shit about this kid.
Yeah,
I don't
let him die. If they killed off the kid, that actually might make it better because people would be like, "Oh, damn, Jesus!" But
at least there's mistakes.
It won't happen. It won't happen. Nobody stays dead in the Fast universe.
Exactly, and that's like they wanted everybody to think that so many of them died in this one. But there's just no way. I guarantee John Cena comes back, even though he was
absolutely
blown up in a car with bombs.
Nah, he's fine.
he's just gonna like walk it off. Yeah, that's Fast X, baby. That's it.
Don't see it. Is what I understood.
Yeah, down.
The Ty, I think that's the episode. There's a little quick one here, but
that'll do it. That will do it.
So check out the next episode that we totally might not, or maybe will be recording right after this one. You don't know. It's coming out a week later. But we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Peace.